Hello all, today I am taking a look at, again behind me, Distilled. Now I'm bringing you an overview, so I'm not going to go through all of the rules. Now it's a 1 to 5 player game and solo is excellent in this game, folks. And it's medium complexity. It says it takes about 13 minutes per player. I'd probably say 2-3 player game is usually just over 2 hours from my experience. And I'll pop the designer and publisher over in the description. Right then, we are Distilling a spirit and we're trying to become the master distiller. You have got a distillery just here. You've got a random player you have chosen, which is going to give you some starting money. You've got some starting ingredients here and your signature recipe you're hoping to achieve because it's generally a bit more lucrative. So looking at your distillery then, you have got your office here. You've got some room for upgrades in your distillery spots there. You can have up to 3 and you can move them out if need be. You got your pantry here, we've got a water to begin with in our case, and you got your storeroom, you've got a starting, a metal, a barrel, and you've got one of those glass bottles as well. Very basic, you want to upgrade those to get more points and get more lucrative things in there. And you've got some space in your warehouse here as you develop maybe something like a whiskey in a nice wooden or clay barrel and get flavour added and get more points throughout the rounds. Now here you've got one of these sort of starting cards. We've gone with A, and that dictates which flavours are in the game, which you can see at the top here. You've always got moonshine and vodka, and there is a load of different ingredients and recipes you're trying to make and distill as well outside the box. So we've started with this one here. You're going to be putting cubes in here to showcase you can develop that recipe, and you can see it tells you the cost, and we'll go through all those shortly as well. So that is your distillery, and here is the main board then. So we've got loads of upgrades we can attain. We've got ingredients, we've got items, and we've got the basic market here as well, and a little truck for the discard pile. And here we are placing our victory point track. You're going along here, and we got 7 rounds as well, and we've got all of those different ingredients. Right, how is a round going to play out then? So the first thing you are doing is you're looking for this kind of little green symbol here. You can see our starting player actually has one. So all players, if you've got that green symbol, you gain the benefits. In this case, we are getting 1 money, which is really nice. Every round we're getting a little bit more cash flow. After that then we go into the market phase. So the first player is going to either take a cube. So you can see we've got these 3 types of cubes. I'll just bring into play. Let me go and get a gold as well. So you got a bronze, you got a gold and a silver. So you can take one of those, and you can see the cost 2, 4 or 6. And why do you want those? Well, you want to go and get those to be able to complete one of these. And you're going to complete it, just gives you access to potentially complete it. So you can see this one here needs a bronze, working over to the silvers, and then gold here. So let's say this player goes to get a bronze, they pay 2 money, and now they pop that in one of these. You don't have to work your way from the bottom to the top, you pick anyone. And that now means they can try and fulfill this later on. And I'll go through that. Next player goes, they're like, right, am I going to take a cube or am I going to go and get a card? Now the cards you can attain, you can buy any of these cards, but there's a limit to these ones of 2 per round. So at the top here, you can see the costs. We can get this coppersmith, and what's he going to do then? He is allowing us during the distill phase, we may add 1 additional alcohol, which is super. You can see sometimes there's little victory points. You've got the cost at the bottom there. So do we want to buy one of those? And that will go in here and generally build your engine, making your distillery slightly more efficient in different ways. We've got ones here like at the beginning, we can add a water to our pantry with that little green symbol. Every round we get an additional water. These ones then, these are like sort of extra special ingredients which we can add. They're pretty much the same as these, but they're going to give you victory points and more money. So we maybe want to get one of those because we're looking at our recipes here and we're like, right, how are we going to achieve this one? Well, it's telling us we cannot have, and there's 3 types of sort of resources. You've got any here, so you've got this grain sugar, so that's one of them. You've got this plant sugar, and you've got this fruit sugar. So if you want to complete a moonshine, you can have anything, folks. It doesn't matter. It's kind of a nice way, if you've had really bad luck in the distilling process, to just gain some money in VP. This one, you can have any as well, but Actually, no, that one, you don't have anything in it. This one, you can have any of them. This one here, anything with a red symbol, like a little circle with a cross, is saying you can't have it. So in this case, you can't have any grain sugars and you can't have any fruit sugars. You have to have at least one of these plant sugars, and it needs to go in a sort of metal container there as well. This one here, if you manage to, unlock that, it needs more than 2 grain sugars, and you can't have anything else. And you can see as you work down, something like whiskey needs, more than 2 grain sugars, but it has to be in a whiskey barrel. So you can see some of the barrels here, you've got wood barrels. I call it a whiskey barrel, I mean a wood barrel there. So you couldn't actually develop that in one of your starting metal barrels there. So loads of little things to think about, and this is why you're looking at these premium ingredients and these ingredients here as to what you need to attain in that distilling process. We've also got items here, so maybe we really want one of these barrels or one of these wood ones or an actual bottle, because if you collect those bottles, you can actually set collect them for victory points at the end of the game, which I'll go through. Now, the basic market, they've got, minimal cost. You can see 0 here, working up to 1, 2, and then 4 for the wooden barrel. So slightly cheaper here, but they're not giving you as many VPs and maybe money. Now, as I said, you can take one card of your choice. So let's say we go and grab a yeast. We put that on our pantry, and done. Next player goes. Now, you keep going round, as long as you've got the money to do things and you've not met your requirements here, just keep going until everyone has passed. So next player goes, and they're like, right, I'll grab one of these. It's back round to us, and we are going to take one of these grain sugars. So we add that to our pantry, and that was our second one of these basic market cards. Just keep them at an angle so you remember that you've taken 2. Eventually, everyone's going to pass, and that was the market phase. Now we actually clean up. Depending on the player count, you take one of these cards each here. Now, when you do take these cards, you sort of replenish them, and these are all going to go to the side. And then we pop new ones out. Excellent. So you can see we're gradually getting more things to choose from. So that was the cleanup then. The distill phase. What are we doing here? So we are placing these cards, our choice from our pantry, and we're going to put them in what's known as the washback here. So you can see your water's going to go here. You got your grain at the top and your sugars in the middle. So this is our selection so far. We start off with very minimal. As we go through the game, obviously we're going to get more to complete better things. So I think we're just going to chuck it all in. So we place our water here, our yeast at the top there. So this is the process of making things. Now, what's going to happen next is you're going to add alcohol. So I've got a big old deck of alcohol cards here. And depending on how many sugars are in the center, we've only got the 1, so we're only getting 1 alcohol card. Now, if you had like 3 or 4 cards there, you'd get 3 or 4 alcohol cards. And that's important because you want to really have a strong deck there, because now you're going to take all of these cards, you're going to give them a good old shuffle, and you are removing the top card and the bottom card, and you don't know what they are. So this is really going to impact what your final recipe is. So if you are trying to achieve, for example, this one here, which in my case is shockingly poor because I've added a grain sugar, I would need plant sugars. If I had to say 3 plant sugars, then I know that even if the top card was a plant sugar and the bottom card was a plant sugar, I still have 1 in there, and I know I can guarantee hit this, and it's going to get me some nice benefits. So here we go then. We've taken the top card, we've taken the bottom card. You add these back to your pantry, which is really nice, so you don't actually lose them. So we're going to look at our final sort of ingredients here, and what have we got? We got an alcohol, which is fine, and we got a mixed grain. So we're looking now at the recipes. This one we can do a vodka. It basically needs anything. Can we have done any of these? No, obviously we put the wrong ingredient in for that, and we don't even have access to those. So at the moment we've completed a vodka, and that was pretty much the distill phase. So we're going to add a barrel to this. So it's basically, thematically speaking, your ingredients are in a barrel. You take the recipe you've completed, so a vodka. Now you can see at the top here, first player is going to nab one, and if it was, these, I put them all out here, they'd be limited depending on player count. So if there wasn't any remaining, then obviously player count is important to be grabbing these. You put this for now just on your actual stash of ingredients, and that was the distill phase. And everyone can kind of do that at the same time just to save a little bit of time. We're now over to the sell phase in turn order. Now you can sell as many sort of, bottles and ingredients as you've got, but you only do one on your turn. When it eventually comes back around to you, you may sell another. And that's important because you might have sort of barrels and some of these ingredients and things you're distilling over in your warehouse, and maybe it's time to bring that out and enjoy, you know, the fruits of your labor, all that flavors you've been adding from round to round. Okay, so what are we doing then? We are selling these. So we've got this vodka one. I'll give you a close-up of what we got. So you're looking at any money at the top. So we're going to get 1 money, 2 money, and anything else. We've got pretty much very basic hand there. Now, I should have had some of these cards when you attain them. So when I attained these, they say at the bottom, when purchased, gain 1 money. So I forgot to do that. This one, when purchased, you may reveal the top card of any market deck. So all players purchase or return. Now I actually started with that card. So yep, just keep an eye out for any little, you know, pieces of information on them. So I'm going to get 2 money. I take that straight away. I've created a vodka. So not only am I getting the money and the victory points on the cards, but you can see here, I'm getting 1 money and 2 victory points for that special distilled spirit there. You then take this actual token and you put it on your choice on any of these top ones as a little perk. So maybe I'm just going to go here and get 5 money because I want all that money to be able to develop and upgrade my distillery and do more stuff. Now what happens to these cards? And well, your alcohol cards go out the game, your mixed grains go back there, and your barrel you keep. You always have a metal barrel and a glass bottle. And I should have had that glass bottle needed to be added as well. So that would have given me an extra coin. So you do add your glass bottles in. Now you may have purchased one of these really fancy ceramic bottles. So when you place that in your actual sort of stock storeroom here, you could have used this a bottle instead, and it would have got you 2 money. And you can see they've each got a kind of, where is it, a little symbol here representing parts of the world, and you're trying to sort of set collect those, and I'll go through those points at the end. Now these ones you do not discard, you kind of keep them to the side of your board and you're tallying them up later. So that was the sell phase. Now age phase, if you have made one of these whiskies here and you had the relevant barrel, you pop it in here. So let's go and just pretend we've got this one here, we've got loads of ingredients underneath it. Let's just say we had some of these. And what we would do is turn the whole deck over except the wood barrel. We place it here. We take our relevant token, say a whiskey here, and that is now in your warehouse. And from round to round, you're adding these flavor cards. And there's loads of juicy things in here. Now, they're all kind of very similar. They've got a bit of sort of, excuse the pun, flavor text, but you're going to be adding one of these and you can see they're either going to give you more money when they eventually come out, but you're kind of getting victory points for having the most. You can see at the bottom, it reminds you, depending on how many you have, you know, up to 5 can get you 15 points there. So, you know, you may have been aging that over 5 rounds and the game only has 7 rounds. So that is the purpose of those, to age them. And the end of the round then. So you're checking for some of these spirit rewards. You can see there's a few here. If a couple of players have attained that in the round, that's fine. You just split the points. Once these have been completed, flip it over and that is done. So something to aim for there. And if you did not sell, you can lose 4 victory points to gain 4 money, just to give you a bit of a head start if things aren't quite going your way. You then move the round marker on one. You pass this beautiful starting player token on, and at the end of round 3, so that was literally the end of round 1, when you eventually get past round 3, you've actually got some of these distillery goals to begin with in the game, and they're just things to sort of aim for. You'll get rid of one of them, so you end the game with 2. So a few little targets you're trying to achieve. And that is it, you play the round again. So you're looking at those little green effects. You can see we're getting another coin. You then go for the market phase, taking cards in, replenishing them. Remember, only 2 from here. And you go to the distill phase. You put them all in the side here, hoping to get the right combinations because you're taking a card from the top and the bottom. Now, some of these amazing upgrades allow you to maybe only take 1. And that is massive, folks, because it's giving you more chances to get that recipe done, get more money. You can see when you get rum here, for example, and you actually have one of your sort of silver things here, it's 11 victory points. You know, a bit more money at the top there. Maybe you're trying to complete your actual signature one here, and there's certain ingredients. You start the game with sort of one of these just out of camera view. So loads of things to go there. Now, eventually, you'll get to round 7, and what you're going to do then? So you're going to score victory points, obviously, throughout the game, and you're tallying them up here. If you've got any leftover in your warehouse. You can score points for those. Not quite as many, but you still, score a few points there. You are going to be looking at your bottle collection. So gradually, as you have more of these bottles in hand, you're going to be getting, dependent on, where is it? Certain bottles, they match up based on these sort of symbols as to, well, that's an actual basic bottle. Don't know that got. Now you can see they've got geographical locations on them, if I give you a bit of a close-up. So you sort of set collecting those, and you actually have one to begin with there, and you can get loads of points that way. If you've got at least one bottle from 3 different regions, that can score you 5 points as well. And there's a really handy sort of reference guide I'm looking at here, so you can see the sequence of a round is nice, and the end game scoring. You're also going to get points from any of your upgrades there. Certain cards give you that. And you're going to turn your money 5-to-1 ratio. And don't forget your distillery goals as well. You're going to score them up. And whoever has the most VPs is the winner. There we are. Enjoy.